Hi, I'm State Representative Bruce Ayers, and I want to welcome you to my legislative update. As a state representative, I realize how important it is to keep people informed on some of the issues we're working on at the State House. Currently, we're debating the Massachusetts state budget, and like any budget, we prioritize things that are important to us and our district. And one of my priorities is working with seniors. And to help me discuss some of the issues at the State House we're currently taking up, I've invited the Chairman of Elder Affairs of the Massachusetts House of Representatives, Representative Tom Stanley. Tom, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to visit Quincy and Randolph.
Well, Tom, appreciate you coming down. I know you have a busy schedule in your new role as chairman. And before we get started, maybe you could tell some of the viewers a little bit about your background and how you got involved in politics.
Sure. I'm married and have two kids. One is Ryan is 27 and he lives out in Seattle. And Parker is 18, graduating from Waltham High School this year, and he'll be attending UMass Amherst Eisenberg School in the fall. And we just adopted a rescue puppy, Regan, from Louisiana. She's a Catahoula. I graduated from Mass Bay Community College and Bentley University, and also received my master's in public administration from Suffolk University. And for the past over 2 decades, I've been on the Waltham City Council and serving as state representative for Waltham and Lincoln as well right now. So, you know, I enjoy it immensely, and it's really been a passion of mine to represent my community and in the town of Lincoln.
You know, how in both of your capacities, one as your role as Waltham City Councilor, your role as state representative, and now your role as Chairman Elder Affairs, how does that experience kind of come together with your new chairmanship?
Well, it's really helpful. You know, it's not easy doing both jobs, but you know, every city councilor has another full-time job, and mine happens to be state representative. And it's helpful in that I know exactly what's going on in the local level and what their needs are and how state policy might affect municipalities. And conversely, when the city of Waltham, in my case, is considering different policy issues and whatnot, I can give my colleagues on the council the state perspective, and also I'm more aware of state programs and grants, things like that, which I can help direct the administration to take advantage of. So that's been great and real helpful. And also, so as chairman of Elder Affairs, growing up in my household, my father, who was also a city councilor, a state representative, and mayor of Waltham, the senior center in Waltham was named after him.
That's right.
And the auditorium was actually named after my mother. So, you know, senior issues were very important to my father's career, and also, you know, something we talked about a lot in the Stanley household. So I'm able to take those experiences, and also in the later years as my parents aged, I've discovered all the how challenging it is for seniors, but also their families, and became more aware of how important all the state services are as well.
All right, good. You know, as chairman, I know you co-chair the committee with Senator Jalen, and of course, what people may not know is it's a joint committee made up of state representatives, made up of state senators, both Republican and Democrat. You know, it's a good mix. But how do you find working with the Senate chair on some of the pieces of legislation as we now start to get into the political process?
No, it's been great. You know, we served with Senator Jalen when she was in the House, so I have a good working relationship with her, and she's been in her role as chair of Elder Affairs for a long time now, as well as her staff and chief of staff, so they're very knowledgeable in depth about the elder affairs issues, and that's been a great benefit to me, being a new chairperson on this committee. Even though I'm very familiar with all the issues, you know, you get more familiar when you're the chair, and you have to really take a deep dive on the issues to best understand them and make good decisions. So,
Yeah, I think that that's a great point, you know, because one of the things that I've seen over the years is, of course, there's 160 state representatives, 40 state senators, but they all bring something different to the table, so to speak. All different backgrounds, all different points of view. You know, so it's something when we're going through major pieces of legislation, it's good to hear it properly vetted and get every side and every viewpoint to some of that, you know.
And we also use from each other different ways to communicate with our constituents.
Yeah.
I know I started the Stanley Report before the year's report came out, and I often see similarities in the two. And it's a great way to communicate with our constituents, because, you know, a lot of people think, you know, what does a state representative do? And you know what a carpenter does, a firefighter, a teacher, things like that. But it's a great way to show how we're working on all the variety of issues and the different ways that we do that. And I know, you know, speaking of different representatives bring more of an expertise or knowledge base in different areas, you've been instrumental and a leader in on the issue of Alzheimer's, and I know you have a bill before our committee, which you serve on, and it has to do with the age restrictions of people that get early onset Alzheimer's, and we'll be taking that up this year.
Yes, well, I'm, you know, it's an important issue to me. You know, my mom had suffered, unfortunately, from Alzheimer's, and other family members. But you know what this bill would do. Mass Health has the frail elder waiver, and under that, there's an age provision of 60 years old, and you have to meet that requirement to be eligible for some of the benefits. And what my legislation would do is remove that restriction, so that people with early onset Alzheimer's could take advantage of some of those services. You know, unfortunately, you know, it's a small population, but an important population. There's a lot of people out there right now who need the types of services to stay home with a loved one, to live an independent lifestyle at home, that this bill would, by removing that age provision, allow them to get those services and be able to stay there.
And that's real important. I know you were telling me the story of some Quincy residents that one of the spouses, excuse me, started to get early onset Alzheimer's, and it can be devastating financially, and it just, excuse me, disrupt all of your plans. So whatever we can do at the state level to try to provide assistance is something that we have to take seriously.
Great. Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. You know, and it was a very unfortunate case, you know, that you mentioned. This constituent had a wife who was in her early 50s that was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, and as you can imagine, it was devastating to him. He had to, he was a Quincy firefighter, he had to quit his job to take care, he retired early, to take care of his wife. The financial impacts on that, you know, it was just devastating financially and emotionally. So we're working hard with bills like this to make it easier for people to stay at home and live independently. Yeah. One of the big things, of course, the House just passed the $47 billion budget, and I know the Senate's going to be taking it up next week. The governor has his version, but in the House, our version, with the budget, what are some of the things that are included that you see being beneficial to the seniors?
Well, as you know, as we're coming out of the pandemic now, no one has, excuse me, struggled more than seniors and those that care for them. And in this budget debate that we recently had, you and I and some of our colleagues worked to increase the budget for different programs like the SHINE program, which is extremely helpful to folks when a family all of a sudden finds a need to help care for an elder in their family. They don't know where to turn. It's an alphabet soup out there of services and so forth. The SHINE program assigns one person to help the family and figure out the exact services that can be provided for their loved one and to direct them to it. And it's such a relief. So we increased that funding by $1 million. And we also increased funding for congregate housing for seniors and geriatric mental health services. That's another area that has been highlighted as a serious problem when people have been, shut in their homes. And also a big area that we concentrated on is our workforce and those that care for elders, whether it's in the community home care-based programs or assisted living or nursing homes, what have you. The rate that the state pays the providers that employ these folks, we increased that significantly because it's a big problem trying to retain these individuals because the pay isn't that great and the work that they do is very important. So the money that we included in the budget this year over and above previous years will help to retain folks that are good at what they do and hopefully help them pursue a longer career in providing services for seniors.
Well, it's certainly very important, because on the South Shore, in my district, in the city of Quincy, the town of Randolph, South Shore Elder Services does an awful lot of work, and the people that work for that agency, as you indicated, do an awful lot for our seniors to continue living an independent lifestyle. Whether it's Meals for Wheels or the other programs that people rely on, and then, down at our senior centers in Quincy, of course, we have Tom Clasby, who does a great job with the programs down there, whether it's legal service, the van service, physical ed and nutrition, things like that. And the same for Randolph. Down the Randolph Senior Center, we've got Kerry Sullivan, runs the same types of programs, but it's a key component for seniors to keep that independent lifestyle.
And as you know, the statewide organization for Council on Agings, we're advocating for maintaining the $12 per senior resident in each community as a funding formula, and we were able to do that. And hopefully we're not going to stop there. We're going to revisit and see if we can add funding to it in future budgets.
Yeah. With the recent census and things that have happened, many experts that for the first time in the history of Massachusetts, that is, these census show that the amount of people who are over the age of 60 will outnumber the amount of people who are under the age of 20, which is quite a statistic. Mm-hmm. As chair of Elder Affairs Committee, how can we be proactive and be better prepared to address some of the new increases in population?
Well, you and I are going to be joining that group pretty soon. You before I.
That's right.
Getting back to what I was just talking about, one of the most important things that we can do is to help properly fund the workforce that takes care of seniors, because they're living longer and they have a lot of challenges and struggles. So that is something that I'm very proud of what we did in the budget this year and hope to continue to improve on that. Also, with local governments providing educational programs to get the word out on what folks need to do to be able to access programs for them, but also for protective care and to stay away from scammers and things like that.
Mm-hmm. This year, in the past year, seniors have been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. And as the state works towards a recovery and hopefully getting back to some type of normalcy soon, how can the Elder Affairs Committee play a role in this? I know for the seniors, it's been very tough. There's isolation, feelings of isolation, and people are very cautious to go back out and get into a regular lifestyle. I know Governor Baker now is lifting a lot of the restrictions, but what are some of the things the committee could do to maybe help?
Well, I hate to keep harping on it, but funding our workforce to take care of people, but also, there are three main areas that we want to get a lot of work done and focus in on early in this session. And that's our bills relating to nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and also the home care programs. It's, as you said, it's fastest growing population base, and it's just becoming more and more important. And there are things that need to change in terms of who can provide what service to different folks at different areas or levels of care. And we learned that with the emergency of the pandemic, and so we're taking a hard look right now at the emergency rules that we put in place, and which allowed things to be provided differently, services, and to see what we should do to make permanent and so forth. So that's that's another big area, and of course the SHINE program that I mentioned earlier. There's going to be more families that need that service of having someone that knows all the ins and outs of the state system. I know we know a lot of it, and we can help folks, and you do with the Helping Hands program as well. I know I've been with you on many occasions, and you're taking a phone call from someone who needs a wheelchair or some other helping device to get the family through some tough times. And I know because you've helped my mother as well.
Well, I tell you, credit really goes out to the people who donate these items to our program. That helps us keep our inventory stocked, so to speak. Whether it's wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, hospital beds, these items are all available, and they're all free. So if anyone is in need of some of these devices, durable medical equipment, give us a call. We'll help you out. And a lot of times, it's just a difference to help someone remain independent and get around. It's been a good fit. We've been doing it close to 30 years now in the city of Quincy, and people are very good about donating the items they no longer need. We store them at our facility, and we just give them to people free.
I will say one thing, though. I think you have to update the photo to reflect the more silver hair that you have now.
That's right. As chairman, I know you have a tremendous amount of bills in the committee right now, and it's a big committee. And there's a lot of committee members and groups that are going to be coming to you to advocate for the passage of these bills. How do you balance that with the members, with the different organizations, nonprofits, and what are some of the priorities you kind of see coming up?
Sure. Well, we try to respect everyone's needs and group legislation. This is a process we're going through now to group like legislation together, so different advocates or constituents, residents of the state, don't have to take too much time out of their daily lives. It can come in on one day, or actually we're probably going to be doing, we're planning on having public hearings on Zoom to start anyway, and maybe to continue that way, so we allow more people to participate and also not have to deal with the traffic getting in town. So that's we listen to everyone. We meet with anyone who wants to meet with us. We talk about their bills, what's important, and I don't know everything about anything. And that's often the case with legislators because we're asked to deal with so many different issues. And knowing that, I know that, you know, legislation may come before us and might sound great or might not. But I don't know for sure until I learn more about it and have the public hearing or advocates come in to make their case, or legislators or individual residents. And we need to form a well-rounded opinion to make good decisions for our constituents.
Sure, sure. And you know, and it's a pretty thorough vetting process. You know, people get to come into the State House, they get to testify if they can. Because now with some of the restrictions lightening up, we may be getting back to that maybe in the fall. But now they can access different meetings through Zoom with some of the committees during the pandemic. But they can call their rep, they can email their rep. There's plenty of opportunities for people to weigh in. A lot can be done online as opposed to years ago. You know. One of the things I wanted to touch upon that I hear from some of the seniors is the types of scams that are going on out now there. You know, it seems to be more and more of different types of scams that are coming up. What are some of the things that people can do if they're approached by somebody with one of these scam opportunities?
Right. Well, you know, my mother is turning, well, she is 80, and you know, she gets the phone calls all the time. They target seniors, and they know that a lot of seniors are home alone often, and try to catch people off guard. My mother just received a phone call from someone who startled her and said, tried to pretend that he was my mother's grandson, who was my oldest son, and say that he was in a car accident and needing money right away. And luckily, you know, she realized that he wasn't calling her by the name that my kids call her. And she was able to pick up on the scam right away. But you know, they keep coming and keep coming, and you know, we all have weak moments. Or and you know, my mother might successfully deter, you know, about 7 of those phone calls, and then on the 8th one might get caught up in something, and it's really hard. So the important thing is to for the communities to have outreach to seniors, to constant reminders that they're being targeted by people who want to steal their money. And you know, it's hard for a lot of seniors to understand because, you know, they're you know, they just want to get along with everyone and be kind to folks, and
Sure.
It's hard to understand that people are trying to steal their money away from them.
Yeah, it is. You know, and one of the things I think it's important for the seniors to know is there's always somebody you can turn to. You know, they can call our offices, they can call the police. You know, they should anyway, just to report it so that the police can report these things and follow any certain trends that might be happening in different cities and towns. But you know, these are some of the things that are constantly going to just keep coming. So people need to be prepared and to be vigilant.
Right, absolutely.
Well, Tom, we're getting close to the end of the show. They're telling me. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to touch upon before we start to wrap things up.
No, you know, I've I've just learned so much about Quincy and Squantum and all the other neighborhoods in Quincy from you, and through the years you talk about it all the time, and Randolph as well. I know that's been a great addition to your district. You get to meet you know, so many other people that have they have different needs in some respects than the city of Quincy does. And you know, it's been one of the joys I've had of getting to know other representatives, colleagues, and through them, their communities. And I know how much you care about Quincy and Randolph, and I know you were just out there, you know, doing a cleanup and painting
That's right.
some
the Clean and Green
tower
That's right.
by the water.
Well, I appreciate your kind words, and it's awful nice for you to come to the show. I know you've got a busy schedule, and it was important. I know it's important to me. The Elder Affairs Committee is a great committee to serve on. It's a big part of my district. It's definitely a priority. So to have you on the show and to be able to work with you on some of the issues that the seniors faced in our district and throughout the Commonwealth is something I'm certainly looking forward to. What I'd like to say to some of the people watching the show, if you'd like more information on the committee or some of the issues that we're going to be debating in the near future, I encourage you to call me. My number is 617-472-9877. If you'd like to discuss items, we have office hours. We can schedule those. Please take advantage of that. And also wanted to thank QA-TV for allowing the opportunity for us to produce this show today. And thank you for watching.